would like to just ask Mr. Elder if he has any comments to say the response to Representative Hank Johnson's question that he had asked earlier. I'd like to continue this conversation about that.
I do. We've been talking about disparate outcomes as if the disparate outcomes by definition mean racism. There was a young attorney named Barack Obama who joined with other attorneys to file a class action lawsuit against Citibank some years ago. And as a result of the class action lawsuit, the Citibank agreed to grant mortgages to 186 people who had applied, turned down, and the applicants argued that they were turned down because they were Black. Well, they got the loans, and virtually nobody was able to keep up with the loans. Many of them went into default, which indicated that the bank was not discriminating against these would-be Black borrowers. Also, studies have found that community Black banks often have a higher turn down rate for would-be borrowers than the majority banks because they are more thinly capitalized. So just because something has a disparate outcome does not mean that that outcome was a result of racism. We've also talked a lot about the police officers. A few days ago, as I started to say, a man was in the backyard of his own house, matched the description of a suspect who was running on foot. Police officer chasing, mistook the homeowner for the suspect, shot and killed him. I doubt that very many people you know about this. And the reason you don't know about it is because the cop who shot the suspect was white. The suspect was white. This took place in Idaho. Therefore, nobody gave a rip. But I assure you, if this had been a Black suspect and a white cop, we'd know his name. The fact is, there are more unarmed white people killed every year by the police than unarmed Blacks. The media couldn't care less. CNN couldn't care less, giving Black people the false impression that the police are mowing down Black people just because they are Black. It is true that the police are 2.5 times more likely to kill a Black suspect. It is also true that a young Black man is anywhere from 7 to 10 times more likely to be a victim of a homicide, almost always the victim at the hands of another young Black man. That's why the cops are there. The idea that there's systemic racism against Black people is a lie. And when it came to the election, the defenders of Biden were arguing, where is the widespread evidence of voter fraud? A fair question. Where is the forget about widespread, where is the evidence of police brutality against Black people? If anything, the evidence shows the police are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger on a Black suspect than a white suspect. It is a fraud, it is a con that is pushed upon this country, and we need to stop it.
Thank you. To go to Mr. Walker, what is the message that you will give today to a young Black boys and girls that's different than the message that you received as you were coming up in the days of true racism back in Georgia? Mr. Walker.
The message I would give today is responsibility. You have to be responsible.
Yeah, GK
and
just
that's one thing that I learned from my parents is responsibility. And to get back
okay, Bobby, do you yield back?
Sorry, so 1 second. Someone has to mute.
Thanks. And now we will go to Colin.
Can somebody please mute your?
Madam Chair. And I want to preface this by saying that some of y'all have more experience
okay,
going through this process.
Is that Mike?
In terms of redistricting than I could ever have.
Okay, I don't know if there's anything we do about that, guys, to mute the background.
There's some crosswalkers. It sounds like another hearing.
I want to just briefly discuss why I think we need both voting protections in HR 1.
Chairman, is there anything we can do about that, or we just kind of wade through it? Okay.
It looks like somebody caught it now. Go ahead.
Okay, good. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Walker. I'm sorry. Please continue, Mr. Walker. Did we lose him?
I'm going to jump in here for a minute. I've been on the hearing, and I appreciate Ms. Jackson Lee chairing. I haven't kept up with the time. Where are we on the time on Mr. Owens? Can staff tell us? Mr. Owens, do you know? I don't have a timer.
Yeah, 1 minute and 1 minute, Mr. Chairman, and 3 seconds.
All right, Mr. Owens, continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let me just is Mr. Walker still there? If not, I'll just give back my time to.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Please finish up. You have a minute.
I go back to Ms. Jackson Lee said that we're in a facts founder, and I go now to, as Representative Johnson was speaking, facts founding is where is the education for African American? At the same time, we facts founding of why there are serious Black on Black crime, because within my neighborhood, where I grew up, I don't experience that in Wrightsville, Georgia, but in Atlanta, Georgia, or in other large cities, that's one of the facts is that I would love to solve, to stop the Black on Black crime.
Thank you. I yield back my time. Thank you.